Greetings, young ones. Welcome once again to our glorious Halloween Advent. Today, we honor the spooky tales of New Orleans. Yes, we honor it the only way that seems true and right. We shall be serving up some spooky gumbo using the secret recipe of my witchy friend herself, with special assistance, of course, from 5-time Michelin star winner Ulrich, the spooky skeleton. Some call him the chef of sheer terror, the cooker of spooky tales, and the sandwich artist of doom. Needless to say, we are overqualified to cook up a gumbo made not just of delicious meats and sauces, but rather of terror and woe. A truly delicious gumbo indeed. Yes, but as we all know, every gumbo needs a good base, right? A good jus. And for that, we brought the spookiest ingredient of them all. To follow along with this recipe at home, folks, you will need a handful of simple ingredients. First, a beautiful chicken, fresh from the yard, in the prime of its youth. Second, rum from a cursed pirate galley, gone to the bottom of the Bermuda Triangle itself. Be careful, because sometimes when acquiring this rum, you might accidentally come into contact with cursed pirate gold, which automatically grants you a permanent contract with the Walt Disney Corporation itself, forced to serve forever as an undead animatronic within one of their dastardly themed rides. And finally, the most important ingredient of all, the one deep in the hearts of any mother who ever made delicious soup for their child. Yes, that's right, the most important ingredient. Blood.
Fresh blood, or it doesn't taste any good. You did get fresh blood, right?
Why? We've got the freshest right here at our easy disposal. We have fun here. Oh, what a nice thing for you to do. It's a good thing we already have that fresh blood ready and going, or else I might have taken serious offense to your attempt to spill it from my cranium. Besides, we've already got the spices mixed in to the blood. Yes. Oh yeah, you're going to need a bunch of Cajun spices, some Myuu, maybe some andouille sausage. You know, we don't have any available here. You know, it's quarantine, we've been around the place. Didn't want to go out to get the andouille sausage. The kale. Kale is a normal thing. That wasn't just my mother, right? Now, for the first ingredient. Bring forth the accused. The flesh of chicken, ripe and delicious. Into the pot with you. The screams of the damned forced from victim. Just a few shots of pirate rum. Just a little more. Yeah, there you go. There. Delicious. And now for the most important ingredient of them all, young ones. Blood. Yes. Yes, very careful. Yes. Yes, the blood of the innocent. Yes. What are you doing with the
Wafting.
ladle? Wafting, yes. Very exotic of you. Now we must give it a stir while our resident witch gives the incantation. Begin the evil incantation. And take it away, witch.
Eye of newt and wing of bat, tongue of man and tail of rat. By the whiskers of my thumbs, something gumbo this way comes.
Ah! Ah! Oh, the pain! Oh, God! This was a bad decision! Ah! An accursed brew, indeed. Delicious. You should try some. Yes, what are your thoughts?
Could have used more screams of the damned.
More screams of the damned, yes, yes. Perhaps a little bit of salt. You know, we give you some, Yorick, but you're too young. There's like a few shots of unadulterated, cursed pirate rum in this. New Orleans, a city of diversity, a city of jazz, a city of ghosts, and a city with plenty of axes. At least enough axes for America's most ardent endorser of jazz music. Today, young ones, we meditate upon murders performed by an unknown hand by one of America's most memorable serial killers, the Axeman of New Orleans. The year is 1918. And a nefarious maniac stalks the night, targeting Italian immigrants, many of them grocers for some reason, and murdering them as they sleep in their homes, often with an axe, leaving the bloodied instrument behind for authorities to discover on several occasions. This foeman spread great fear to the city of New Orleans. Citizens locked themselves in at night, purchased guns and firearms, and did anything they could to stave off the potential deadly kiss of the madman's axe. The first killings of the Axeman occurred in March of 1918, targeted at a couple of Italian grocers, the Maggios, in like a lion, as they say. I do suppose they should have been wary of the Ides. From here, he went on a spree of killings, spread out over weeks and months, occurring over a year of time. His reign of terror would go on until October of 1919. The time was filled with intermittent murders at the hands of the axe, and a great deal of survivors left wounded and maimed by his hands. At the zenith of his reign of terror, a New Orleans paper received a letter, supposedly from the Axeman himself, filled with dire promises of terror and dread, and a wholehearted endorsement of jazz music.
Hottest Hell, March 13th, 1919. Esteemed mortal of New Orleans, they have never caught me, and they never will. They have never seen me, for I am invisible. Even as the ether that surrounds your earth, I am not a human being, but a spirit and a demon from the hottest hell. I am what you Orleanians and your foolish police call the Axeman. When I see fit, I shall come and claim other victims. I alone know whom they shall be. I shall leave no clue except my bloody axe, besmeared with blood and brains of he whom I have sent below to keep me company. If you wish, you may tell the police to be careful not to rile me. Of course, I am a reasonable spirit. I take no offense at the way they've conducted their investigations in the past. In fact, they've been so utterly stupid as to not only amuse me, but His Satanic Majesty, Francis Joseph, etc. Let them not try to discover what I am, for it were better that they were never born than to incur the wrath of the Axeman. I don't think there is any need of such a warning, for I feel sure the police will always dodge me as they have in the past. They are wise and know how to keep away from all harm. Undoubtedly, you Orleanians think of me as a most horrible murderer, which I am. But it could be much worse if I wanted to. If I wished, I could pay a visit to your city every night. At will, I could slay thousands of your best citizens and the worst. For I am in close relationship with the Angel of Death. Now to be exact, at 12:15 earthly time, on next Tuesday night, I am going to pass over New Orleans. In my infinite mercy, I am going to make a little proposition to you people. Here it is. I am very fond of jazz music, and I swear by all the devils in the nether regions that every person shall be spared in whose home a jazz band is in full swing at the time I have just mentioned. If everyone has a jazz band going, well, then so much the better for you people. One thing is certain, and that is some of your people who do not jazz it out on that specific Tuesday night, if there be any, will get the axe. Well, as I am cold and crave the warmth of my native Tartarus, and it is about time I leave your earthly home, I will cease my discourse, hoping that thou wilt publish this, that it may go well with thee. I have been, and will be, the worst spirit that ever existed either in fact or realm of fancy. The Axeman.
Jazz halls and dance clubs were packed. Musicians hired privately for house parties filled to the brim with New Orleansians. the city jazzed away the supposed demon killer. There were no more murders that night. But perhaps the city's attempts to pacify the killer with smooth, jazzy goodness were misguided and too little, too late. For the Axeman's empire of murder had already crossed the river and spread into the neighboring town of Gretna. The killer struck the Cortimiglio family in the dead of night, seriously injuring the parents and murdering the daughter in cold blood. Upon regaining consciousness, the wife, Rosie, blamed their neighbors, Orlando and Frank Giordano. You see, they were both families of grocers, so it seemed that the motive might have been jealousy or greed or simple rivalry. However, this accusation proved to be quite false, as after further murders occurred, Rosie came forward and admitted she had falsified the statement under police pressuring. The Gretna police seemed to have assumed that the murder could not have been the deranged New Orleans Axeman, but instead was some other crime related to the politics of the Italian immigrant community. 9 months later, however, Rosie admitted to her false statement, and the Giordanos, father and son, were freed. The Axeman would continue his rampage through their incarceration, striking at the town of Gretna with his vicious axe. The final murder finally occurred in October of 1919. A family man and, you guessed it, an Italian grocer by the name of Mike Pepitone. A family man and, you guessed it, Italian grocer. Mrs. Peppa Pig claimed to have caught sight of the vicious killer as he made his escape, but could not identify any traits of the man. After this killing, dear viewers, the Axeman vanished into the night. Perhaps his killings caught up with him. Perhaps he returned to the pit from whence he emerged, or perhaps he waits, biding his time, waiting for the perfect season to return to New Orleans and put his axe to a fresh set of innocent victims.
What better witch to cover for New Orleans than Mary Laveau, the Voodoo Queen herself? Honestly, there's so much I could talk about for this, that in order to keep this like short and concise for these videos, I had to just go with the bare minimum. Mary Laveau is a fascinating character, and so much of her life is just myth and legend, because nobody can agree on when she was born, when she got married, how many children she had, where she's entombed. No one knows, and so much of her life is legendary. She influences so many people to this day in New Orleans. It's honestly incredible. Marie Laveau was born a free woman of color. Her father had come over from Africa. Her mother was a mixed race colored woman. She had a little bit of French, a little bit of Creole. She has an interesting racial background. Honestly, you could talk all day just about that. But Marie Laveau dedicated her life to not only being a mother to between 12 and 18 children, nobody knows, but to the children of her spiritual community. She worked as a hairdresser, as a nurse. She was part of a large voodoo community. I don't know where to start, where to end. She has influenced the lives of so many and continues to do so. In fact, she influences artists to this day, which is incredibly fascinating because there's not an official portrait of Marie. No one knows what she actually looked like. It's another thing for the legend. And in fact, she's still a legend to this day, to the point where they had to make visiting her tomb by tour only. So many people were going to her tomb and leaving offerings and damaging some of the other tombs around hers, or the one that's supposedly supposed to be hers, that it's by tour only, and people still leave gifts there to this day. Food, Mardi Gras beads, drugs. Drugs have been left upon her tomb. People go there to make wishes and to see a little bit of the history of New Orleans. The Queen of Voodoo, Queen of New Orleans, according to some. I'm rambling now because she's really so incredible. She was survived by her daughter, Marie Heloise, or Marie II, who took the title of Voodoo Queen when her mother passed. And in that way continued the Voodoo Queen name forever on. She's an incredible witch, an incredibly inspiring figure to all those who learn about her, and an incredible part of New Orleans history. Marie Laveau is not just an influential witch in history because of the facts that we have about her. It's the way her name has persisted, the legend that has grown from the person. She's timeless, a person of history that is just so fascinating, and a legend that will never die.
It's a bestiary, everybody come see some bees. The streets of New Orleans are haunted, don't you know? Its houses, the abode of specters and phantoms who haunt the night, crying out, lurking in the shadows, the dead walking amongst the living, perhaps unseen. A German sausage maker driven by his lust to turn his faithful wife into delicious meat products for the public's consumption. A townhouse once thought to be home of an exiled Turkish sultan, now supposedly home to a mass grave. The presage of a wealthy Creole man, driven by envy and shame, to turn on her partner. A 1930s bar lit ablaze, torching 30 of those trapped within, for no reason other than the inhabitants' sexual preferences. New Orleans is a city with 1,000 ghost stories, and maybe even a handful of ghost truths. Well, young ones, that was a fantastic experience. There's nothing like spending a little time thinking about New Orleans without having to be in the intense southern heat or the oppressive southern wetness or
The South.
dealing with the South in general. Yes, yes. No offense to those of you from the South, but I'm good. Anyway, as a closing note, like the video, comment, subscribe. You have to do it. We will both die if you don't. We have wagered our very souls.
What? When did
I mean,
that happen?
I wagered your soul. Don't worry about it. Someone will subscribe. As long as one person subscribes, we win the wager. One of us will get to keep their soul. As long as there's one. Now, we have to get significantly more subscribers in order for both of us to keep our souls. But the good news is, Yorick's soul isn't even on the line.
Oh wait, I forgot. I'm a witch. I don't have a soul.
Either way, head out to our Patreon account. You know, the account where you give people money to create silly videos about spooky stuff. And give us $1 or something. It's all we need, really, is $1 to buy some chicken nuggets. Yes, it'll be enough to get by. All man needs is chicken nuggets. And the occasional, very spicy, or mild, taste depending, gumbo. That being said, let's take a quick look at our gumbo to see how it turned out. I'm very nervous. We've let it set overnight, you know, to get all the flavors swirling around in there. Gotta get that cursed pirate rum seeped into the long pig andouille sausage and whatnot. Yes, let's take a look. It smells interesting. Now let's just fuck!
It's clicked.